Yo, what's going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new locals feature match. Here we are in round 2 for November 25th's locals, where we've got Infernoble Knight on the left versus Branded Chimera on the right. And the Infernoble pilot is actually the man who taught me how to play Infernoble and who I learned a lot from. So you guys get to see the master himself in action. So hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. And we're going to see the Mirror Sword Knight bring out the Big Wing Baphomet. That's going to get hit with an Effect Veiler, but the B Fusey is coming down uncontested. No Ash Blossom there. And we're going to see him send Albaz, and didn't get a look at the other one. Might have been Gazelle. Yeah, most likely Gazelle, because he's going for the Rindbrum, and Gazelle is going to add the Cornfield Cottle. And I think I've said this in the past, in my experiences playing against this deck, Rindbrum is an absolute house of a card. Just does so much. A negate plus a bounce, and then its graveyard effect can just bring out Albaz just because, and then that's an interruption into Mirror Jade, and that's an interruption, and yeah, does a lot. We also see him get Kit on the field, and not a card I would expect to see in the Branded Chimera deck. I don't know if that's particularly custom or not. I know it can add Branded Fusion, and then you put one back to the bottom. He does have Cornfield, though, and Mirror Knight set up in the graveyard, but that actually doesn't matter because he never ended up getting to the Chimera Fusion, so that's a little unfortunate. So those would be 2 extra interruptions in the graveyard that are now just not doing anything. We do see Wanted for our Infernoble player, which is pretty strong. And, you know, they're still doing I mean, maybe they don't do it anymore, but the shotgunning of the Wanted in the draw phase, which, I mean, I feel like it's not terrible, right? I get that you can just chain it to Droll and keep that knowledge from your opponent that you have, you know, the Sinful Spoil stuff. That I understand, because, you know, in Infernoble, it's not necessarily like it's a starter, like it is for like Rescue Ace and stuff like that, because, you know, you get access to Hydrant, so like you're usually going to start with the Diabell Star stuff, and in some cases, I don't know, I'm not a Rescue Ace player, but, you know, the Diabell Star stuff can be, you know, a very impactful extender, and if you can kind of hide that information from your opponent until you absolutely, you know, need to play it, then that's probably beneficial, right? But there's also still probably nothing extremely wrong with shotgunning it just to, you know, play around Droll. And we will see Connector bring out that Alti Dolphin. God damn. Bringing out that Alti Dolphin, who's ripping out a Mirror Sword Knight, doing the Lord's work here, especially with that 2500 Super Quantum Red Layer on the field, which can contest the Rindbrum. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and do just that. Battle Phase crashing into both of them. But of course, right, Rindbrum can still be brought back because of his super special graveyard effect. And we'll see him link into probably one of the most underused, underpowered, and most fair and balanced Link 2s Yu-Gi-Oh! Has ever seen. And that is a Soul Two Tail of the Noble Knights. You probably thought I was going to say SP Little Knight, but no. Isolde takes the cake there. And we will see him use the Rindbrum graveyard effect. And instead of bringing out Albaz, they're going to bring out Rindbrum. Yeah, so that has the option either to just bring Rindbrum out itself, or you can bring out the Albaz, which honestly, I feel like him bringing out Albaz there wouldn't have been a bad move either, just because you get into Mirror Jade, you get the Isolde off the field, and you also cut off the graveyard access of just getting Divine Sword in the graveyard. Some people overlook how strong that is. Like, just getting that card into the graveyard to use, even if you're not even resolving Isolde's effect, is still, like, that gives you a lot of juice to work with, right? That makes DDR alive. That gives equips for Angelica. You know, gives equip boosting, the equips boosting the attack of stuff, free card to send for the Diabellstar stuff, original Snake Eye, whatever it may be. So it does a lot other than just being a random equip. So we do see him finally put the Diabellstar onto the field, getting the original Snake Eye, and he did summon Diabellstar by pitching a Ogier, which is probably near perfect discard there, because now we have access to Angelica, we have Turpin in the graveyard, we have everything we could want and more at this stage of the combo, and we've played through pretty much everything our opponent has. We've checked the hand for hand traps, and now we just have a board to clear and follow up to be able to stop. Which at this point, we definitely have the ability to do that. We're going to equip Ogier to Angelica, not use the effect of Angelica here, just getting that body on field first, because they do want to use that field spell effect. And they do tag out by sending the Renault and bringing out Roland. And yeah, they're using that bring up effect there just because they have 2 fields. So I was going to say that's probably the only reason why they're doing that. And we did see them add Gear Freed at the beginning of this combo, because you can kind of get away with that in this sort of like 2 warrior combo, adding Gear Freed to the hand because it's not necessary, especially if you play it out this way. You know, like a good Infernoble duelist, I myself probably would have screwed this up somewhere. But we're going to see him go into the Charles Link. And we did see that Almace add back the Renault, which is going to come in clutch more than one way. You know, field spell, second field spell here, bringing up the Synchro Charles. And now we're going to special summon Renault. This is going to add back DDR, and this is probably my favorite play right here. Right, we're going to make Baron. It's like, oh, can we make the second Charles Link right now as we pop the Big Wing Baphomet with the Baron? And I'm saying like this is like I'm playing. I'm not playing. This is my friend Dalen piling the deck. But, you know, we're going to see DDR get picked up by the Renault, and then Divine Sword, again, so clutch, banishing the Charles and allowing us to bring back that Charles Synchro with the DDR. Perfect discard in of the Divine Sword, and then since DDR is already equipped to Charles Synchro, we can just immediately go into another Charles Link. And because why the hell not, let's go ahead and use Wanted to put back original Snake Eye and draw a card. Since 2 of your best level 1s are already out of the deck in the form of Renault and the Ricky Ardetto, there really is no need to just go ahead and save the graveyard effect there for the next turn to try to add a level 1. I mean, you could just draw an additional card. And we have Modges too. So they have that now for an additional draw 1 on the opponent's turn when they do negate something with a spell, or negate a spell or a trap. And we're going to see him Tribute Summon for Big Wing. Big Wing effect is immediately going to get negated by Baron, and we still have 2 spell trap negates and a non-activating spell negate at resolution and a pop, and that is going to be enough. So we head into game 2. Where, spoiler alert, we will see the branded Chimera deck opt to go first yet again. They try to set up a board that the Infernoble deck cannot break. And we'll see them start with Pot of Prosperity. Most likely banishing 6 here. I don't think the extra deck for this particular fusion technique is super tight. Although, again, I don't know. I've never played it, not 1 second. I don't know, I'm just not a big fusion guy. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just that I don't like fusions, because I can't remember the last fusion deck I played. Yeah, now that I think about it, I literally can't remember the last time I played a fusion deck. Maybe Invoked Mech Knight. But like, Invoke just feels like a fake fusion deck. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. This is a real fusion deck. Playing Polymerization. That's how you know it's a real fusion deck at the end of the day. Even tier. Some tier builds play Poly. Real fusion deck. Invoked? I don't know. I need more convincing. But I'm going on a tangent here. Regardless, we unfortunately do not see a Droll and Lockbird from our Infernoble player, which would be a very, very good card to have, at least against this particular hand, especially when they started with Pot of Prosperity. We saw them resolve Patchwork. We're seeing them resolve Big Wing, or at least attempting to resolve Big Wing, which will add 2. It does say add 2 cards, right? Gets them the fusion and gets them another monster on top of that. So we are going to see that get ashed. And that's a risky play there, because now if they have branded fusion, right, you've just let that resolve for free. But they have the polymerization, because we know they had the patchwork, which is still going to get them into the Chimera, King of Mythical Beasts. And they're going to be able to get those subsequential effects, where they're going to be able to rip a card in the end phase. But they're going to go ahead and try to DD Crow that Mirror Sword Knight. Because, yeah, I believe one of the monsters they fuse off with would revive it, which gives them access to a search next turn and puts Mirror Sword Knight back in grave. But they're just going to search another Mirror Sword Knight. And I believe they have Imperm, so it looks like they just set Imperm. And end phase doesn't seem like normally that great of an effect, but they get to rip a card for free. But they will first summon Magnamut and banish, I think, a Big Wing Bearfmit from the graveyard. And now they're going to resolve. The Chimera is going to hit Gearfried out of the hand, which is tough. And then they'll resolve Magnamut here. I believe turn player goes first when it comes to resolving stuff like that. Those, like, I'm not sure the exact word, but those specific types of end phase effects where they just kind of happen. So, yeah, DD Crow, Ash, and still getting ripped for a third card there. Not really ending on anything crazy. I mean, when the Mirror Sword Knight did get DD Crowed, I don't know. I think they do have Cornfield engraved, which is, you know, the less frightening of interruptions when it comes to those graveyard effects of the Chimera guys. We'll see him summon that Jerusalem that he added by banishing his own DD Crow, going into the battle phase here and just getting in some damage, dropping his opponent down to 5,100. And I couldn't see what the draw for turn was. I think maybe it was Called by the Grave. And yeah, I can't necessarily tell what that last card in hand is. And we see him link for Ferocious Flame Swordsman. And I believe he's playing this because he does not want to buy a second SP Little Knight, which I totally understand. So we'll go ahead and special something. I mean, I didn't even buy a second one. I'm borrowing one from a friend because I'm not paying $100 for a Link 2. Not right now. Not for a second one. And we're going to see him go into Isolde. And Isolde is going to get impermed on summon, which I think in this case it's still maybe not fine to do that, but just going to go ahead and send one for cost. Get a Durendal out of the deck, I guess, and then set that Called by the Grave. End phase, the fusion will bring out Big Wing, or Gazelle, sorry. The mythical flying beast, adding the fusion, the Chimera fusion. And we're going to see him normal summon that Mirror Sword Knight that we knew they had. He'll chain Call by since it does tribute itself off the field for cost. So won't be able to summon out Big Wing there to get more advantage, but things not looking too good for Infernoble here. They do not have really anything going from the graveyard. I mean, they opened up really poor. They had Ash, Crow, Magnamut, Fire, Flint Lady, Gearfried. That's just a tough hand to begin with. And even if that Gearfried didn't get sniped out of their hand, I don't think it was helping them really whatsoever. You know, maybe I thought they'd make like SP Little Knight there to try to get rid of the back row. And then you keep SP Little Knight in rotation. You know, maybe that has its benefits instead of just going straight for a sold. But that's really a really tough call, because I feel like in a situation like that, if you got the opportunity to go for a sold, you just got to go for it. And if they have imperm, they have imperm, right? Because going for the sold play, if that resolves, has the higher upside, right? He goes into the Chimera, or the Guardian Chimera. It's going to pop the Isolde. Swinging for some damage there, and yeah, draw for turn. Nothing good, so we go into game 3. And we're going to see Infernoble go first. No one is surprised. We're going to see him start with Connector. That's going to bring out that Aqua Dolphin. And Aqua Dolphin effect here. Discarding Nibiru. Not the greatest hand trap against this deck, so free discard there. Looking at the hand. A hand full of spells. And an Aliber. So, I mean, at this point, we now know there are no hand traps. We can play this out however we want. We know we can at least get 3 spell interruptions on the field. So we can at least take care of, you know, 3 out of those 6 cards, 50% of the hand at least. And then you still have a pop and a monster negate on top of that. And SP Little Knight if this hand can go that way. Going for the Dempsey route. And playing fast here is to get the combo done as quickly as possible. Because, again, they know the combo in and out. And they just want to get it done as quickly as possible. Because it does take a little while, we'll admit. So going into Roland. To resolving the Angelica, right? Dumping the Gearfried. Dempsey detaching here late to get that Ogier engrave. Equipping. Bringing up with the field spell. Synchroing into the Charles Link. Charles Link to equip. Almace to add back Gearfried. Now linking into SP Little Knight. And... well, I guess with this, they're not going to be able to end on 2 Charles Links going this way. Because, yeah, that's just 2 warriors. Yeah, okay. That makes more sense. Yeah, just 2 warriors there should end them on exactly this field. And they're going to go ahead and use Heritage here to grab Ricky Ardetto as follow-up. Grab the Divine Sword back before the turn is... I'm like forgetting combos of the deck that I play all the time. It is what it is. Angelica comes back, and we're going to equip Angelica's Angelic Ring, and we're going to equip Magus, and we're going to pop Magus, and we're going to recycle 3 and draw 1. Recycling Red Layer, Durandal, and Almace, getting those equips back to the deck for future museums. So we've got a Spell Trap Negate. We've got a non-activating Spell Negate at Resolution. We've got SP Little Knight. We've got Gearfried. We've got a pop from Roland. We drew a card off of the Magus. Super Poly tries to go off here. And, he doesn't know. Yeah, he doesn't know. That's going to get negated by the Angelica's Angelic Ring on Resolution. That's right, we just saw Super Poly not resolve. Kind of rare to see, but when it happens, it's kind of cool, I'm not going to lie. The Unstoppable card is stopped. Then we're going to see Pot of Prosperity activate for 3 here. And again, they know the hand, so they can, you know, better decide on what to interrupt. And they're going to stop the Pot of Prosperity with the Charles. And then they're going to have Branded Fusion resolve on them as they go ahead and use Roland in response to equip to SP Little Knight, I believe. Which is going to boost it. Or they might have equipped... I guess it doesn't really matter who they equip to because Charles could still resolve because it's whenever something just becomes equipped, period. So I think they equipped it to SP and to trigger Charles. So they could pop it basically on the resolution of the Branded Fusion. And they're going to go ahead and use Rinbrum, and then Gearfried's going to negate. And they're going to called by the Gazelle. Interesting way that played out there. Normal summon Albert, and Albert is going to go ahead and add Branded Fusion. And Battle Phase are just going to attack over the Roland, or the SP Little Knight rather, for only 200 damage. And they're going to set 1 end phase. Charles will resolve again, because it just does always say just during the end phase. So they'll get Angelica's Ring back and equip it with Oliver now, so it cannot be targeted. And they're going to find Wanted in the draw phase, and they're going to use that. Kind of broken. And they're going to attempt to use Rinbrum in the graveyard, and Gearfried's just going to say no immediately by adding... by sending off that Roland, switching Angelica to attack position. That's how you know things are getting real. And we're summoning Diabellstar by sending off the Fire Flint Lady, setting original Sinful Spoils, and there's the handshake, and we're going to see Infernoble take it 2-1. And yeah, pretty decent match there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and last but not least, a big shout out goes to our current Divine level channel members who are Pony Stark, Cadillacs, Green, Misfit, and HD8 Cyber. Thank you guys so much as always for showing me kind and very generous support of the channel.